Welcome to The Productive Life. In this episode, we're talking about the tech, apps, and software that I use to run my business on a daily basis. Welcome to the Productive Life podcast hosted by me, Megan Minns. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to be more productive in their business and their personal life. Because as a business owner, your business and personal life are connected, and we can't talk about one without talking about the other. Each week, you'll learn about productivity, organization, personal development, self-care, business strategies, and more. And now, let's get started. I'm recording this episode from my home office here in Houston. I am actually standing on a little rock mat, which is fun to kind of keep the energy up. And I've got a cup of tea, and it's raining outside. It's very lovely. And I am so excited to be talking to you about the different apps and software I use to run my business because I am a systems geek at heart. And, in a way, I'm nervous to tell you the different systems I'm using right now because sometimes I'm experimenting and trying out new things. So, of course, they may change over time. You can always go to my website, meganminns.com/resources to get the up-to-date list of what tech I'm using in my business. I'm always updating that page as I try new apps, as I buy new stuff for my office, as I'm using new tech. So if you want just like the in-the-minute, up-to-date list, if you're really anxious for it, you can go there and get it. But I think this is going to be a great list to kind of answer some of your questions about what tech I'm using and maybe give you some good ideas for some different apps, software, or tech that you might want to incorporate in your business. Before I dig into the list of everything I'm using, I want to go ahead and let you know now that I will link to everything beneath this podcast in case you want to learn more about all the different tech that I'm using. Okay, so let's dig in. I'm going to start with my website. I use Squarespace for my website. I used to actually be a website designer, and I've absolutely built websites from scratch on WordPress. And, I'm not like a WordPress hater by any means. I just find that I can do the same stuff really quick on Squarespace and have to do less researching for new widgets, updating, security concerns, worrying about my admin login. It's just all so much easier on Squarespace, which is why I switched several years ago. And a long time ago now. And I'm just an avid Squarespace fan. I love it. They're always releasing new features and making the experience even better as a user. So I'm a huge Squarespace fan. If you've ever been on my website, you might have noticed that I have a little pop-up coming up in the corner. It's technically considered social proof when you are seeing people's recent purchases and enrollments. And so that is an app that I use called FOMO. And I really enjoy it. It's been really easy to use and it just pops up in the corner. I have used a more expensive alternative before called Use Proof. It might actually just be called Proof. I don't know. But I think the website is Use Proof. And that is a really great platform too. I actually like them both. I just found that FOMO was more affordable and I only wanted to pay for the features I was using. And FOMO kind of did exactly what I wanted. So I use FOMO to get those little pop-up notifications when someone enrolls in my programs and add those to my website. For my email list, sending out emails, automated emails, all that good stuff, I use ConvertKit. Love ConvertKit. I actually have a blog post about why I switched from MailChimp to ConvertKit. I did make that switch several years ago, but I still think it stands up pretty well for the benefits of switching to ConvertKit. And I love ConvertKit. I love them so much. I go to their conference every year, and it's like the only conference I consistently go to. I love them as a company. I love the people, and I love the product. It makes my life so easy. I think I talked to all of my one-on-one clients about switching away from something like MailChimp, which is just, I get it's affordable, but it's just so complicated to do things that ConvertKit makes so easy. ConvertKit just does what I want, and I think the pricing is really reasonable. And you can actually get a free month if you go to meganminns.com/ConvertKit. Usually the free trial is only 14 days, so you can get a full month just trying it out if you go to that link. So I'm a huge ConvertKit fan. I love it because not only is it easy to use, you also have like full capabilities regardless of what payment plan you're on. So you can do all of the advanced automations regardless of how much you're paying, which I really appreciate and value about the company. They also make it really easy to send free downloads to people when they opt into your email list, which is one of the best ways to grow your email list is to give a freebie, and ConvertKit makes that really, really easy to do. It's built into their forms that you can just deliver a freebie when someone opens the email, which is so, so helpful. And I also really like that they have the option to do landing pages. So if you're just needing like a quick and dirty landing page, ConvertKit has some great templates. And they actually just released, at the time of recording, they released a ton of new template options that are truly beautiful and can add a lot of text and features and imagery. So they're just always improving and adding new stuff. So huge ConvertKit fan if you're looking for an email management, some place to store emails and send emails. Okay, for bookkeeping and finances, I use Bench. So I really love having Bench because not only is someone else doing my books every single month, but part of it is this beautiful software that you can log into. And they have a feature called Pulse where you can see exactly how much is in your bank account right now and the last 4 weeks, how much money has come in and how much has come out and what the net is there. And that is something they rolled out within the past few months that has been really, really helpful for me as a business owner. And beyond that, they obviously run your books every month. So I can see really good reports on a monthly basis. But since it's in this really intuitive piece of software, I can also see a lot of advanced reports for the month, the quarter, the year, multiple years. I can go in and make comments on different transactions and my bookkeeper will change it. It's just been a really great experience. And they even offer monthly calls with your bookkeeper. So I'm a huge, huge fan of Bench. And if you go to meganmins.com/bench and you sign up, you can actually get 1 month for free. So just wanted to make sure I mentioned that since I want you to be able to take advantage of that. Okay, so recording my podcasts, I use Zencastr to actually record the audio. And I really love it for when I am interviewing guests. It's really nice to be able to just send them a link. We can both be on there and it's really easy for everyone to use. I also use it even for my solo episodes because that way it's instantly in a cloud and my team can access it. So I don't have to download something, export it, upload it somewhere, then tell someone it's ready. As soon as I'm done, it's in the cloud and my team can log into Zencastr and download it right from there. So it just saves me time and it helps me know that like that file is saved in the cloud right when it's happening and not, potentially getting lost like on my computer somewhere. So I love using Zencastr. For hosting my podcast, I use Buzzsprout. I love Buzzsprout because it's a really great interface. It's so easy to use. They made it really easy to set up the podcast and push it out to a lot of different platforms, which honestly overwhelmed me at first. And they make it really easy to see different stats, average stats, see how each episode's doing, and go in and make updates to each episode if I need to go in and make any tweaks. And they just have some cool features like allowing you to have chapters on your episodes. You can go ahead and get transcriptions through Buzzsprout for only 10 cents a minute compared to other services that are $1 a minute. So that's a huge cost savings for me that we take advantage of. And I just love Buzzsprout. For automated funnels and timers, I am using Deadline Funnel. So I didn't really know how to categorize this because it's more than a countdown timer. But if you've opted into maybe one of my free downloads, you might have been presented with a limited time offer to purchase one of my products at a discounted rate for like 15 minutes or 30 minutes. And that is being run by Deadline Funnel. And you can just add Deadline Funnel to any pages. So it can be Squarespace, it can be Thinkific, it can be WordPress, it can be Teachable, it can be anything that you're already using, you can just add it to, and it will track how long someone's been there and redirect them after. That way, it's a really ethical offer. It really is only available there for that amount of time, and it'll redirect people for you. Now, Deadline Funnel is also what I've used with clients and in previous jobs where we were building really complicated funnels. Deadline Funnel is the tool that actually closes things down and redirects you. So love Deadline Funnel and highly recommend it for funnels, for countdown timers, and even for like open and closed offers. Like you can still use Deadline Funnel for like setting a specific date of when an offer ends, and it'll have a beautiful timer and it'll redirect people for you. For coaching payments, I currently use MoonClerk. I recommend MoonClerk if you just need a payment processor that can do recurring payments, one-off payments, deposits with different recurring payments, and subscription-based or one-time. It really does all of the different payment options you could ever want while being secure, really simple to use for you and for the user, and just the right amount of customization. So I love using MoonClerk, and it is what I use right now for all of my coaching clients. And it is really great pricing as well because it's just based on the volume that you take each month. So it'll just change based on how much you've charged and billed and collected that month. For my membership site and payment processing for all of my products, I am using Thinkific right now. I wanted to make sure I say right now for both of those because I did actually just purchase ThriveCart and I intend to switch my payment processing to ThriveCart eventually. But I just can't be bothered to do that right now. It's just I wanted to get it before their pricing changed and I want to switch to there, but it will be a little bit of a mini project that just isn't in my 90-day action plan right now. So we've got it there. We'll come back to it later, but I will eventually switch to ThriveCart. I love that platform. But for right now, coaching is through Moonclerk and all of my products are being done through Thinkific. And that is also where all of my courses and products live. So if you've ever bought one of my courses, you're logging into a Thinkific membership site to access all of the training materials. I have used Teachable before as well. I recommend both of them. I have heard from a lot of people that they think Teachable is a little bit easier to use and more aesthetically pleasing. So feel free to do that. I'm just currently on Thinkific and I'm not having any issues with it. So I'm not going to switch unnecessarily to another platform, but I have used both. I recommend both. And I think everyone should have a membership site on one of these two sites because it just makes your life so much easier for delivering content and allowing your students to track their progress. And it's beautiful. So that's what I use for all of my courses and products. For scheduling and planning out Instagram, I use Plan. That's PLANN. I have used, Plan Only. I have used, other Instagram apps. I've used nothing. And I started using Plan a few months ago and I love it. It's so feature rich that I can't even list it all out. But my favorite things are that you get a really great preview of your grid and it'll tell you when it is the best time for you to post, which I really appreciate on each day of the week. And you can also store your hashtags in there and it gives you analytics on each hashtag on whether it's a good hashtag to be using or not, which is huge and so helpful. And the other thing I really like about it is that you can reply to comments in a really easy way in the app as well. So I love to reply to comments on my desktop and it's so easy to do that through Plan. Now they do have tons of other features where you can upload media in there. You can have themes to your grid. You can plan your stories and you can do so much. I feel like I've barely even done anything with it. And just what I have done has been so powerful and helpful for me as I'm starting to focus on Instagram. For creating content, at the baseline stage, capturing ideas, drafting emails, internal notes, planning out stuff, I've been using Evernote, which might surprise you. I'm such a huge Google Drive, Google Docs advocate. And don't worry, we're still going to talk about that. I still do stuff. Everything happens in Google Drive. But I found recently that I was just kind of playing around 6 months ago. And I just found that it was much easier for me to get stuff out of my head in Evernote than it was in Google Drive for some reason. I don't know why. I think the doc maybe just felt like I needed to worry about the way it looked a little bit more. And Evernote just felt like I could just create something willy-nilly and it can be one line, but I can easily find it. And it's just its own little ecosystem. So I actually now create everything in Evernote. I'm actually looking at an Evernote note right now. It's where I outline my podcasts. It's where I actually draft emails. It's where I type out Instagram captions. It's where I capture ideas. I'll actually record voice memos straight into Evernote. I'll upload photos. I'll save all inspiration. If I see someone's sales page and I love something they did, I'll take a screenshot and upload it to an Evernote note. And it's been so great. I've really, really enjoyed it for just getting stuff out of my head, doing the initial draft and creation process. And it's been great. So I use Evernote for that and I'm obsessed with it. I still use Google Docs for all final product and file storage. So Google Drive is where I store all of our actual files and any finals created, any PDFs, any shared Google Docs, all of my coaching client folders and docs are in Google Drive. So that's kind of where I still share all of my files. That's where I keep things organized. That's where the final record of everything goes. That's where all shared files go. That's still my home base. Evernote feels like it's just been added on. So I use it kind of at the initial stage of the process. And Google Drive is where everything lives throughout the process. So my team, when they're editing the podcast, is operating exclusively in Google Drive. I'm just operating in Evernote at stage 1 when I outline it. So for file storage and sharing, I'm using Google Drive and I'm creating Google Docs as well. Okay, here's one I'm nervous about, you guys. For project management, I'm using ClickUp. Now, I know I've been an Asana advocate for so long. I have a course on Asana. I still recommend Asana, and I still 100% believe in Asana as an incredible platform. So by using ClickUp, I am not saying anything bad about Asana or that you shouldn't use Asana. I still recommend it. I am, like I said at the beginning, just experimenting with ClickUp. A lot of my friends who are also systems geeks were talking about ClickUp a few months ago, and I just was intrigued. And I really wasn't experiencing any pain points with Asana, which I usually don't recommend switching platforms or software unless you're experiencing any kind of pain point or you can't do a feature you want to do. But earlier this year, just everyone was talking about ClickUp, and I experimented with it, and it had a lot of unique features that I did really like. It has the ability to have goals in a really fun way. So it just does a lot. It's very complex. And I mean that in a beautiful way. Like, you can use it as simply or as complex as you want. It does feel like a little bit of an overwhelming software to pick up from scratch because you can do so much that you kind of have to like figure out what you want to do before you start building stuff. But I really have liked it. And I actually, one of the first things I had my virtual assistant Bev do when she started working with me was like, hey, experiment with ClickUp and like build stuff out in there that you want. And it's kind of fun because in my whole life, I've always been like the one managing projects, the one creating things. Like, I always owned Asana or whatever project management system I was using with clients. And for the first time, I was like, hey, why don't you own our project management system? And it's been really cool. So we're still using ClickUp. We still really, really like it. I definitely think we're still figuring out kinks. Like, should this be a subtask or should this be a task? And, oh, that assigned comment, like, I didn't see it in the view I go to check my task. So maybe we don't do that anymore. So we're still figuring out the kinks. I'm not at the point where I would be comfortable teaching ClickUp or sharing how I recommend you set it up, but I do use it. So that's been fun. We'll see if we keep using it, how it evolves over time. I still recommend Asana unless you're having a major pain point with Asana, then maybe explore something like ClickUp. But Asana is just really easy to get started and like very simple in a beautiful way. So that is my project management situation. For team communication, I use Slack, and I do use Voxer a little bit. So we mainly use Slack. That's our home base. That's where we're chatting, periodically throughout the day. And I love Slack because it's just such a great and fun platform. It's so fun to add reactions to things and share GIFs. And it also integrates with pretty much everything. So we have, different notifications pop up when someone buys something or someone applies to work with me, and it just makes it like the pulse of our business. And so I really love using Slack for our team. For client communication, I use Voxer. So my team communicates with my clients through email, but I communicate with my clients outside of our coaching calls through Voxer. And I love Voxer. It's like a walkie-talkie app. And while you're talking, they can hear you. And that's really fun. You can see someone is listening and when they've heard it, and you can save messages. You can recall messages if you've upgraded. You can also chat back and forth. So it doesn't have to always be voice memos. And what I really appreciate is that you can speed up messages. So someone can kind of do a 5-minute Voxer and you can speed it up at 2x and get through it much quicker, which is so valuable for time-saving purposes. So I love communicating with my clients through Voxer. It's kind of like you get to do a mini coaching session in between your calls. I did kind of mention that I talk to my team through Voxer as well. And I don't talk to the whole team on Voxer, but my right-hand girl, Bev, I do talk to her on Voxer sometimes. And I usually send her a message in Slack when I'm like, I need to just verbally process something with you for a second. Can you go check Voxer? And that's usually what we use it for, is just when we need to have a conversation without jumping on a call. And if one of us doesn't feel like typing. So that's kind of what that looks like. Okay, last few systems here for scheduling calls. That is calls with friends, that is podcast interviews, that is my clients. All of that is done through Calendly. I love Calendly. I talked about it in episode 12 when I was talking about how to create a schedule and how to work 4 days a week. And one of the tips that I gave was creating these boundaries and making it really easy to stick to your ideal schedule. And Calendly is my gift for that, because especially when I have client calls and external calls, being able to send them just a link to whatever that is. So I have different types of scheduling links for external calls, for client calls. They all have different rules. They, have different lengths of time, different permission settings, and I can just send those to whoever needs them and magically get to hold boundaries to my ideal schedule without having to feel awkward or like have any kind of guilt around it. So it's been amazing. And it's a really great experience for your clients and your friends also, because no one likes going back and forth. Just like they really don't. It's not fun. So yeah, definitely love Calendly. Acuity is a great alternative. I find the back end of Acuity a little complicated and like overly so. I just find Calendly is so easy to use. So that's what I do. And I also use Calendly for my 90-minute one-on-one intensives. People actually pay me through Calendly for those. For calendar management, I use Google Calendar. That is my home base for what's going on in my life and my business. Everything is on a Google Calendar. So absolutely live and breathe in my Google Calendar. I even plan out like what I'm doing throughout the day on Google Calendar. My ideal schedule lives in Google Calendar. If it's not there, it's not happening. For my inbox, I use Gmail. So that's where I have my personal emails. All support emails are in Gmail. So I'm a big Gmail fan for the inbox. And for organizing our emails, we use Streak. So that allows us to see when people have viewed or opened emails. It allows us to just organize emails in a really nice way, and it's free. So like definitely check Streak out if you haven't heard of it. It's a great way to just take the basic Gmail inbox and make it really easy and powerful. And you can do so many cool things with it. You can have different stages of like a lead cycle. You can organize emails in a lot of different ways. You can leave comments on emails. So sometimes my assistant and I will actually I'll be able to leave a comment on an email, which is just really cool and nice to be able to do that when you are having someone else in your inbox. And last, but definitely not least, is Zapier. I use Zapier for integrating every single thing I just listed out. I have a lot of Zaps in place that just help streamline the process. So when someone applies to work with me, Zapier takes that name from the spreadsheet and posts a notification in Slack to let me know and gets them tagged in ConvertKit for what segment they need to be in. And that's just one example. So we're using Zapier all the time. It's just a great middle point between all of your different software that maybe they don't natively communicate, but through Zapier, they can communicate. So if someone purchases something, they can get added to your email list. If someone does a certain interaction, they can get pushed over to Asana as a new task. Who knows? Anything and everything. If someone schedules something on your calendar, you can get a text notification. I mean, truly, you can just do a lot. My favorite Zap is that I have a text message for every single sale that I make. So every time someone buys a product or enrolls with me, I get a text notification that's just like, I'm so happy and grateful that so-and-so just enrolled in Asana HQ, and I have little fun emojis, and it's just like such a delightful experience to see and to just appreciate that the money is coming in and that, all positive money vibes. And it's just really exciting. So that is the rundown. Those are all of the apps and software I use to run my business and a little bit about why I use them and what I like about them. I hope this was helpful. Definitely click the links beneath this video, and you'll probably want to check out the blog post that goes with this for any other relevant links or articles or imagery, or if I have any YouTube videos about these, I'll be sure to include those in the blog post for quick access. So hope you found this helpful, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Productive Life podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, it would mean so much to me if you would share your biggest takeaway on your Instagram stories or wherever you hang out. This helps me understand what you find the most helpful so that I can make more episodes and resources like this. If this podcast has helped you at all, please take just 1 minute to leave a review on iTunes so that we can help spread the word about the Productive Life podcast with others who may enjoy it. And last but not least, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast to get the latest episodes sent to you directly. To learn how to work with me one-on-one or get instant access to freebies, trainings, templates, workshops, and more, be sure to go to meganmins.com right now. I'll see you in the next episode.